Yeah, so again, I'm going to apologize because this video is going to come out at the same time the Edmonton Oilers playoff against the Montreal Canadiens, but I did want to make this the last video of the day, so to speak, just because the topic is a pretty big one. So, we're revisiting our conversation that we had a few days ago about the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers and how both of these teams could be involved in trade talks with the Pittsburgh Penguins. This was from 4 days ago, and it got a lot of attention. A lot of people were talking about this topic, but I wanted to revisit it because we have ourselves some actual confirmation as to what is going on. So, let's go out there and talk about this article published on The Athletic earlier this morning by Josh Yohei. What I'm hearing about the Pittsburgh Penguins, more trades are coming. Now, The Athletic is paid for material, so we're not going to go out there and read this ourselves. Instead, we're going over onto Twitter, where we're going to give another big and beautiful shout out to Canucks News Summaries. Yeah, we had spoken about them in the last video because they've been doing a fantastic job at summarizing Vancouver Canucks news and notes, articles, media hits, radio interviews, and more all get dissected and broken down in a text format that's available for all of us to look at and not behind a paywall. So, Vancouver Canucks News Summaries has the scoop as to the latest on the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Josh Yohei piece. Let's go out there and read, shall we? The Pittsburgh Penguins, these are the notes from that same article. More deals are coming following the Lars Eller trade. However, when it comes to the names that are going to be moved, Crosby is not going anywhere. Macklin has no intention of playing anywhere else, although Yohei has never got the impression that Chris Letang would be opposed to playing elsewhere. Basically, from these three, no Crosby, no Macklin, Chris Letang, maybe. Who really knows? However, when it comes to these guys, Dubas would be happy to move Graves, Jari, and Erik Karlsson, but the other teams in the NHL most likely are not interested. Interesting to hear on Karlsson there, although his contract is so big and his play overall has declined so much that I'm not surprised that teams really wouldn't be willing to go out there and explore a trade with him. Interesting with Graves too, although I think he is a little bit overpaid as well, and Tristan Jarry, yeah, way overpaid, way bad too. Definitely not somebody that NHL teams are going to be chomping at the bit to try and acquire here. However, let's talk about the name that is on NHL teams' radars. Marcus Pettersson is the most likely player to be on the move, Josh Yohei writes, and league sources say the Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers do indeed have interest. The Penguins value replenishing their system more than keeping Pettersson. Brian Rust has a no-trade clause and suspects that he would veto a trade. Crosby loves to play with Rust, and Rust recently purchased Jake Gensel's old Pittsburgh home. Now, that's interesting. Wow, talk about making a home that feels like home, eh? Brian Rust living in Jake Gensel's old place now that Gensel's gone to Tampa Bay? Very interesting. But it is also noteworthy that of the teams that are talked about as potential Penguins dance partners in a trade, Vancouver and Edmonton are officially in the market now for this Marcus Pettersson asset. Now, we did talk about this before, but it was all just sort of an idea. It was people talking in the media that this guy should be an interesting target. Oh, if the Oilers wanted to go after Marcus Pettersson, oh, the Canucks could trade for Marcus Pettersson, yada, yada, yada. But now we actually have confirmed info from an NHL insider that the Canucks and the Oilers are going for it. They are both interested, and as a result, if you wanted to follow the tree down the trunk, you could probably say that there is some sort of a bidding war going on here if the Canucks and the Oilers are both interested in acquiring the same guy. Marcus Pettersson, as we have talked about, is a left-handed D-man, 28 years old, 6'4", 176, left-handed dude, signed on till the end of this season, making $4 million. He is a former Alvin and Rutherford guy, and he does fit the bill as to what the Vancouver Canucks value in terms of size. Now, we had Frank Saravalli speak out earlier in the media as well about how he doesn't necessarily think Marcus Pettersson would be the right fit for Vancouver because PD, or MPD, I guess you could say, isn't really the best at breaking the puck out, and the Vancouver Canucks struggle with that particular aspect of their D, so getting another guy who cannot really do that might not be seen as the best fit here. And then there also was that article from Patrick Johnson on The Province going over how maybe Rasmus Andersson or Mackenzie Weegar from Calgary would be a better option for Vancouver instead of MPD. But still, MPD is better than some of the guys the Vancouver Canucks have right now. In particular, I'd say Carson Soucy. I'd rather have Marcus Pettersson right now. Tyler Myers, I'd rather have Marcus Pettersson right now. And then for that fourth D spot on the bottom four, I mean, Erik Brannstrom has been great, but the guys that he plays with are usually not. Juleson, Desharnais, Derek Forbort's been out of the lineup for a while. So if you wanted to get yourselves a defensively minded guy who might have some trouble breaking the puck out, but can do pretty much everything else you need him to do, you can probably look at Marcus Pettersson as an option here. You also cannot discount that Pittsburgh connection. All of the old Pittsburgh guys and reuniting Mark Friedman, Teddy Bluger, Casey DeSmith, Alvin Rutherford Tocchet. It's a very particular way that the Vancouver Canucks have been running their team as of late. And Pettersson's Swedish, so by the time everything works out, if you have a power play, let's say you've got Erik Brannstrom, you've got Marcus Pettersson, you've got Elias Pettersson, you've got Nils Höglander, you've got Lekkerimäki, hell, you could even bring up the other Pettersson, oh wait, he's already on the team, and you could have Pettersson, Lekkerimäki, Höglander, Brannstrom, like, it's Vancouver 2017 all over again, with the Markstroms, the Edlers, the Sedins, and the Ericssons, whomever else you wanted to throw onto that too. Anton Rodin, for example. But the Swedish connection, the Pittsburgh connection, it does reign true here. Vancouver officially being interested in Marcus Pettersson is not surprising. I won't disagree with the idea that there are better options, but Pettersson still is a pretty okay one. Same thing you can say with the Edmonton Oilers, especially now that Darnell Nurse is going to be out 5 to 10 days, I think was the analysis there. Who really knows if that's going to come true or not. Man, I hope he comes back soon. He was playing really well for my fantasy team the past few days before he got knocked out by Ryan Reeves. But Edmonton's D-core has always been an area of concern, starting out the season up until now. Ty Emberson, Cody Ceci, Troy Stecher, all rotating around there with very little consistency. The rest of the D-core, I'd say, when everybody's healthy at least, is okay. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, and Brett Kulak, but you need somebody to stabilize the other two spots. And unfortunately, with the rotating cast of guys, the departure of Broberg and Ceci, there certainly is not that same stability there. So Marcus Pettersson, not too surprised that he is in the mix as well, especially when we have seen Edmonton media go out there and discuss Pettersson as a viable option for the Edmonton Oilers. It's just going to be interesting to me to see whether or not Vancouver and Edmonton start going into some sort of a bidding war, talking about what they could offer up and who's trying to outbid who, or if there's just some other team that randomly inserts themselves into the conversation at some point throughout the year and everything completely turns around. That's possible too, but for now, let's just focus on Vancouver and Edmonton. So if you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. How do you feel about trading away Marcus Pettersson? What do you want in exchange for this guy? Lars Eller got traded for just some draft picks, so maybe there isn't really a big acquisition that you could get on the prospect side or a huge first-round pick or something. Lars Eller was just traded for a third and a fifth, so definitely not the biggest return possible. Is Marcus Pettersson in some sort of a similar situation, and is it Edmonton or Vancouver that you end up making the deal to? Maybe you get some extra assets if you retain salary or whatever, because MPD is only making $4 million. That's not an extremely low amount. But thoughts in the comments either way. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9 and bye.